The Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line opened the 2022 offseason with a bunch of questions. First off, it was where will the team find their new center following Brandon Linder's retirement? What is going to happen to Cam Robinson now that he is basically a free agent? He played through his franchise tag in 2021. He gets re-tagged again. So what happens to him on the tag? Is it a tag and trade? Are they going to draft Evan Neal, Aquanu, put them at guard for a year, let Cam play on the tag, and then kick him out to left tackle? Well, we didn't have to worry about any of that because Cam Robinson eventually does sign the franchise tag and signs a 3-year extension worth $54 million. Cam played really well for the Jaguars in 2022. I think he's a great place to start. Obviously we have a right-handed quarterback, so the left tackle is the blind side. It's the most important position on the offensive line. We do not want Lawrence just absolutely getting massacred out there on the edge. Robinson's played in the past 3 years for the Jaguars. He has improved with his pass blocking abilities. For the second straight year, his pressures have actually gone down. He had 45 in 2019, he had 40 in 2020, and in 2021 he had 31. I really do think that shows that he is getting better, and now that he has a stable quarterback that knows how to really work a pocket, that number is just going to continue to drop. And I'm very excited to see what that looks like going into 2022 and then throughout the length of this contract. Now, 31 pressures is still a lot. But if he just matches that drop from 2020 to 2021, I think he'll be in some really good company hovering around that 20 pressures a year range from that left tackle position, because that is who sees the majority of the big-time pass rushers in this league. Now, let's move on to the left guard spot. This is one of the two spots, in my opinion, that really still has a ton of questions circling around it. It's one of the two final spots. Is it going to be the right guard from 2021, Ben Bartch, who was bumped out of his seat, obviously, when the team signed Pro Bowler Brandon Scherff, who I will get to in a second? Is it going to be the third-round selection from Kentucky, Luke Fortner, who really cut his teeth, made his money at Kentucky playing guard? Now, can it even be Tyler Shatley? Tyler Shatley is someone that has a lot of versatility. He's kind of just a do everything well offensive lineman for the Jaguars. Been a very good backup for many years. Is it going to be him? On the Jaguars website, they do currently have Ben Bartch penciled in as the starter on their depth chart here. Bartch allowed 5 quarterback hits in 14 games for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021 whenever he did fill in for A.J. Cann. So if it does end up being Bartch, I would not be upset with that in the slightest. Now, the center position. This is one of the positions I think is locked up. The Jaguars have had success in drafting their future centers for a long time. Look back to Brandon Meester. He was drafted in the 2000 draft, eventually does take over the center position in 2003, and then locks it down for a decade, 2003 to 2013. And then immediately right after that, Brandon Linder joins the Jaguars, 2014 to 2021. He handled the center responsibilities. Now, obviously, like I mentioned, Brandon Linder is no longer a Jaguar, but that did open the door for a third-round center from Kentucky, Luke Fortner. Honestly, Luke Fortner made the most of his time at Kentucky, converting to center in his super senior year due to the COVID waiver that the NCAA was allowing to come back for their 6th year. Fortner played out of his mind at the center position. He played in the SEC. He has good experience playing against elite level talent. He played against Travon Walker, Jordan Davis, all of those players that were so highly touted on the Georgia defensive line. He played all of them last year. And Fortner graded out as the 3rd best center according to Pro Football Focus across all of college football. Let me say that again. He was the 3rd best center according to their grading scale. And now the Jaguars add him to their roster. Obviously, he's a little undersized, but in my opinion, I think it's okay. You're really not going to see a lot of dudes double teaming a center, and he can survive against the big boys in the SEC. He served well and he played well. So once again, Fortner is penciled in on the Jaguars website as the starting center. Now, some serious money was shelled out for right guard. Ben Bartch played serviceably well in that position last year. A.J. Cann was just incredibly inconsistent. Nobody knew what was happening there. Brandon Scherff comes in. He's going to be he's the most successful offensive lineman the Jaguars have had in a while. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, and he's also a former All-Pro. And 400 pass blocking snaps in 2021. Brandon Scherff allowed 1 quarterback hit. You want to talk about protecting your quarterback and building that great wall of Tuval. Those are stat lines that we need to see. Scherff will immediately have an impact on this Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line. He'll just be that anchor. I'm hoping it's not the same way that we'd had with Andrew Norwell, where we're like, oh yeah, we're bringing in an all-pro guard. This is going to be great. And then he comes here and he's just super pedestrian and he's I'm hoping that doesn't happen with Scherff. I'm hoping he can kind of fix some of these injury issues he has overall. But like I said, he's the most successful Jaguars offensive lineman they've had in a long time, and he has yet to play a snap in the teal and black. So the right tackle position is a position that has a ton of questions and speculation surrounding it, almost more than the left guard spot does, because it is one of those two outside tackle positions. Does the incumbent Jawan Taylor win the tackle battle despite all of his struggles in 2021? All of them. The false starts, all of them. Or does 2021 second-round pick Walker Little show why he was viewed as a first-round pick in previous years going up into the 2021 draft? Little played some snaps at left tackle when Cam Robinson was hampered with an injury. I remember the New England game. I think he played pretty well. Currently, the team has Jawan Taylor listed as the starting right tackle, but I do believe by the time training camp is half over, the Jaguars will have a starting new right tackle, and his name will be Walker Little. Between Taylor's issues with false starts and his inconsistent play and just the penalties, I do think Little won't have to do a whole lot to be announced as the new starter. But let me just run this down real quick. I have Cam Robinson playing at the left tackle position if I was making the selections. They have Ben Barch, the Jaguars, do currently penciled in as their starter. That's who also I would have playing at that left guard spot. Luke Fortner is also the penciled in starter for the Jaguars right now. Also who I would have starting. Brandon Scherff doesn't need any penciling in. When you pay the man that much money and he has that many accolades, he's your starting right guard. And now I have Walker Little ultimately starting, although the Jaguars do currently have Jawan Taylor penciled in at that right tackle spot. The Jaguars made a lot of moves to improve this offensive line. They're going to be shuffling a lot of people around, and I think it's going to be for the better. There's going to be a lot more youth on this offensive line. With Linder retiring, obviously you kind of just trade Norwell for Scherff, and then if Little does become the starting right tackle, you also drop down in age there. I would love it if you guys would subscribe to the channel. It helps the Fan Cave community grow immensely if you're new. And thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe and go Jaguars.
How about them Jags?
Come on, Joe! Ah! Thank you, baby!